Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you? Good, how are you? Good.
You found your way here.
I did.
After all this work.
Yes. Paul just wrote a little,
I saw it.
yeah, good.
Thank you. How are you?
Did you ever know
Used to.
Flo-Ann Ray?
I don't think
And Carol Hitt?
you did.
Did you, you were selling real estate in Austin?
Oh, yeah, I'm selling real estate in Austin since '78.
No, but did you ever work with her?
On a deal, yeah.
I was with her at Eden Box
Uh-huh,
a long time ago.
a long time ago, yeah.
And then Carol and, she was on the board. Carol and Ham.
Oh, yeah, I know Carolyn
She
here.
started
Was it Carol Dodson?
Well, she started out with Eden Box, and then of course she's now with, and they were bought out. And then she's with Cooper Southern.
Oh, okay. Sylvia?
I need to start here.
Right, this thing.
I would think so.
That's comfortable right now. It is comfortable.
Morning.
One minute.
1 minute? You're at 1 minute. Wouldn't want to be early.
I turned it on.
You're on. Okay, just making sure.
I turned it on. I didn't forget. Hey, Mike.
Hey.
What's going on in the market, you guys? While we got this 1 minute.
It's 10:30 now.
Stop it. Seems strange. What does that mean?
I've never seen it like this before.
What's like this?
Lots of homes on the market, and then some houses are taking a while to sell.
Yeah.
It's a shift. Yes, well, you know, when you haven't been in the business that long, it seems weird, right? Oh my gosh, it's taking 50 days to get something under contract.
Or 300.
Yeah.
Heaven forbid.
Offers in 2 minutes,
What's that?
and when you don't have a dozen offers in 2 minutes, oh my gosh, what's happening?
Do you think they're overbuilding on Ronald Reagan and?
There will always be an adjustment.
Yeah.
Time's coming.
I think the biggest thing out there, the tax rates.
It's
and
huge.
utility fees.
It's huge.
For people that are, they can get more house, but yet they're paying, they could spend a lot more in town.
No one wants to pay $15,000 a year in taxes.
Well, the government wants you to.
I should have said no one.
Okay, so Kristen and Scott and other people had 3 things they wanted me to talk about. So I'm going to talk about those 3 things and then I'll answer your questions. So Kristen said, talk today about people who put these 3 letters in a blank somewhere in the listing agreement, in a contract, whatever. TBD. And my response to that was, that should never be anywhere, on anything, anytime, ever. To be determined is not enforceable. It is not letters we intend to see. We will reject anything that's TBD.
How about on a temporary lease back when they don't know what the payment's gonna be?
You have to estimate something.
Yeah.
Because how are you gonna enforce that? How are you? You're gonna have to modify that at the time that you get a number. So why not put a number in that's an estimate and then agree that you will modify it to what it really is once you know what it is?
Oh, I see. Agree to modify.
So can you put like a plus sign, so 25%, and I'm mainly referring to leases. I do a lot of leases, and I don't know if a client's going to lease a property that's paying only 25% or 30% or 40%. So when you initially do the contract, what should you put, 25 plus, or?
You're talking
So
about how are
use
you
TBD.
going to get paid? Is
Yeah.
that what you're talking about?
Right,
I never thought about that. I have no idea.
so that's when I use TBD, to be determined.
Well, doesn't the MLS sheet say it?
Well, it just,
So-
but you're not, it could be done to 10 properties.
You're talking about the buyer representation agreement.
Right.
And in that amount, or in that paragraph right there, you need to put the minimum amount you're willing to accept
Okay,
to work with that person.
okay,
Anything above that doesn't matter. The other broker is willing to pay you.
okay,
But
good,
you need to put the minimum amount that you're willing to
Yes,
accept to make.
because if you put in there,
okay,
you named several numbers. You put in there 30%, and the other broker is paying 25%. Technically, you could get the other 5% from the tenant
okay.
because it's in there.
And some of them won't sign that.
Yeah,
You make a decision whether you're willing to work as hard as you will work for a lease for $283.
yeah.
I wouldn't. So just saying. Most of the time, so stay away from TBD. You can't give me an example that I'm happy with. Okay. Apparently in the Colleen market that we have, and I don't know, I guess they're here maybe virtually, we have a bunch of
It happens here in this area too.
Okay, well, we have some listing agents in our market who are listing property at some commission amount. I don't know what, because that would be in their listing agreement, what they were listing it for, but they're willing to only cooperate at some number other than 3%. First of all, let me just say, if we're taking a listing for, say, 7%, and we're only willing to pay the buyer's broker 2.5%, I believe that we are breaching our fiduciary duty to the seller. Because we are not opening that up to as many potential buyers as we could be. Because there are brokers who won't show property where the commission is less than 3. That person is obviously breaching their fiduciary duty to their buyer by doing that. But agents and brokerages that make a habit of taking a listing and not, I think there could be some more lawsuits about this. So one of the lawsuits going on right now against NAR has to do with commission rates being in MLS. And I don't know how that's going to play out. I would be very concerned about any of us taking a listing at a high commission rate on the selling side and paying less than half of it to the other side. That concerns me. So the question, hold on just a second. Oh, go ahead, Brian.
I thought by being Keller Williams, NREG, we pay 3%.
We do.
That is
Okay.
correct. What we're talking about is people who are not affiliated with our company, who are taking listings at a certain amount and then paying the cooperating brokers a much lower amount.
Like Colhaven properties.
You're correct, in Bell County, we're seeing it all the time.
Yeah, I think it, depending on what their listing is, they could be easily breaching their fiduciary duty to their client because they could be limiting the buyers that are going to see that property because of that activity. Scott said, how would you handle that? The only way I know how to handle that is if you're going to show a property where there's a commission offered less than what you might have expected, even back to Sylvia's example, where you've got a buyer rep at 3%, you could certainly, before you show the property, send to the listing broker a registration and fee agreement saying, we intend to get paid 3% if we bring you a buyer. And if they signed that, then that would trump what, and I don't mean that in a political way, that's the old cards game thing. That would trump what's in the MLS because you have a written agreement otherwise. And or your other choice is, let's just say you have 3% in the buyer rep agreement and the other broker is paying 2%. You can certainly tell the buyer on this property, and you remember when I told you, Mr. Buyer or Mrs. Buyer, whatever, that I was going to seek to be paid by the listing broker, and if the listing broker was not going to pay me, then you agreed to do that in this buyer rep agreement. So if it's a 2% and you've got a buyer rep for 3%, you can certainly ask your buyer for the under 1% on that property prior to showing it to them, so they know that buying that house will be an additional 1% investment on their part. And if you're confident in what kind of agent you are for them, and then you're really giving a lot of good value, there should be no issue with that. Because if you believe that you're worth that, you are. Because you are worth that. So those are the only ways I know how to get around that. I expect that Bell County will end up with some kind of litigation over that before it's all said and done. I don't know that. So then Pat asked me if I had any insight on this article.
The square footage one.
The square footage article from the Texas Realtors. Y'all read that? It's an interesting case. It was a condominium in Dallas. I think we talked about it some months ago. The listing agent in the remarks of the MLS said something like, cute 1126 cottage or something. It was a condo. It was cute. I guess it was cute or some silly thing she said. And the buyer was a cash buyer, so there was no appraisal. Have a little information beyond what is in this article because I've read the case, and it's on the record that the buyer received all of the HOA documents or the condominium regime documents, and in those documents there was a page that indicated that all of these condos were 800 square feet. So the buyer received that prior to closing, during the time, clearly didn't read it, and so they bought it cash again, no appraisal, so no square footage, and the buyer after they closed called to have the floors redone, and the contractor that was doing the floors gave him a bid for so many square feet. At which point in time, the buyer who thought they had bought 1126 was only bought an 880 square foot property, sued the listing agent and listing broker and all that kind of stuff, and the lower court rewarded the buyer $32,000, and then I believe on appeal, unless I'm incorrect, they reversed that, and I don't know that the buyer in this case is going to go to the Texas Supreme Court, but basically this was a ruling in the favor of the realtor because the other documentation was clearly in the record that they should have known that it was 800 and whatever it was. But this is still one of those concerns that you have. How much time, effort, energy, and negativity in your life would a lawsuit of this nature be? My experience with this kind of stuff is if you're the agent that's involved in this, when it's all over, you leave the real estate business. You're just done with it because your integrity has, in your mind, your integrity has been impugned. You've been, just all of these things. You made a mistake. And that's probably what this is, a well-known company in Dallas that's known to do a good job, the Ebby Halliday Company. And their agents are good agents. And yet, they believe something they read or whatever.
Well, the MLS reflects the county appraisal number. And the court said that the listing agent had no way of knowing that record was wrong.
Yeah,
That's how they kind of got it reversed.
yeah. Go ahead.
It seems like women, we're not appraisers, we don't act like appraisers, we're not X, we're not Y, we're realtors.
Yeah.
How are we gonna be held accountable for TCAD, realist?
Well, indeed, that wasn't, what's not in there, it was the remarks in MLS where the agent had said, blah, 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 cute, 1,126 square foot, blah, blah, blah. Where they had quoted, and see, and I didn't read this article. I didn't remember, and I can go back and look at the stuff that I have, because I have all this stuff. I thought the CAD was right, and that the only place that the 1126 showed up was in MLS remarks, and that the buyer had said in their defense that they didn't know what CAD meant. So, yeah.
What about the buyer's agent in all this? I mean, wouldn't it be the buyer's agent's responsibility to help educate their buyer on where the square footage actually is and what
Yep.
it is, and to, if they are buying cash and not getting an appraisal, to have the measurements done?
Yes, indeed, I would agree with that. And as happens sometimes, not ordinarily, but as has happened sometimes, the buyer only chose. Seems like in my brain that the buyer was related to their agent, and so they didn't want to bring suit against a family member, because ordinarily, when you go to a lawyer, everybody gets sued. I mean, that's just the game that we play. And I believe, and memory doesn't always serve me well, but I believe that the buyer's agent, not the broker, but the buyer's agent was related to the buyer.
And Paul was telling me when I met with him not long ago that for the lawyer to not sue every party that could be involved could be considered malpractice.
Interesting. Speaking of that, Paul Jordan is our attorney, and Scott and I have been thinking we wanted him to come maybe once a quarter for like an hour, lunch and learn kind of a thing, and just do a Q&A. And he said he was willing to do that.
Awesome.
And he said, can you give me some idea what I'd be doing? And I was, when I meet with him on Friday, I was going to say, no, because we were just going to let it be whatever they wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to answer something, you just say, I don't know.
That's going to take more than an hour. We can schedule an appointment.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's really good.
Yeah.
And I'd like for all of you to get to know him. So that's why I wanted him to come and do that for us. And he's willing to do that. Are y'all interested in that?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Is he here in Georgetown?
Yeah, he's right here.
Yeah.
What if you submitted questions in advance, like everybody sort of submits?
Well, you could do that. You could do a few of those, and then you could have some random. I want it to be what you want to hear. So yeah, we could do that. I'll talk to him about that on Friday.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the three things. The floodplain lawsuit that I told you about that caused us to go to the TREC form. Two things have happened. You probably already know that the legislature passed a bill that goes into effect on September the 1st that causes the standard TREC seller disclosure to have a whole lot more information on it about floodplain. And Broker Lawyer's working on that right now. And that case has been sent to the Texas Supreme Court because lower court ruled for one, appeals court ultimately in the second appeal ruled for the other, and so now the buyer has sent it up to the Texas Supreme Court. So still don't know about that particular instance, which still causes me concern about the other forms with TAR. However, the floodplain stuff is everybody, both TAR and the Real Estate Commission will have to change their forms to meet what the property code will reflect on September the 1st.
So those forms will change on September the 1st?
They'll change sometime between now and then because they got to be done by then.
Yeah.
Anybody else? That was the three things they wanted me to talk about. Julie?
I have a question. On that one we were just talking about, because I tell the story in my classes, that's why I want to make sure I'm telling it correctly. The buyer, had he closed on his his house yet, or he hadn't closed?
Hadn't closed.
No,
and
yeah,
he
he
wanted
hadn't.
out?
We wanted out.
Okay.
And his lawyer found it. I can send you, send me an email and I'll send you the synopsis of the case that I've got running. Yeah. We're going to have a synopsis of that case in Legal 1 next iteration.
The square footage case?
No,
No.
the floodplain case.
The square footage case will be the next iteration in 2
Well,
years.
no.
Aren't they going to update?
Square footage is just a dirty word.
Square footage?
So what are some ways to
Still want
protect?
to use it.
Yeah, what are some ways to protect yourself in disclosing the square footage?
I think that you just always, anytime somebody asks you, first of all, things that happen, the contract is not, in nowhere in the Texas contract is there a square footage contingency. So if somebody wants a house that's 2,300 square feet or more, there is absolutely no contingency in that contract. It's about the price and the value.
Do you think that'll ever change?
No. But many things have happened. So if somebody gets an appraisal back and they see that the square footage is less than they thought it was, but the property appraises for the price, they don't have an out. What were y'all going to say?
I was going to ask, as a listing agent, would you recommend in the remarks or somewhere to put buyer to verify, all that?
You take up a lot of space doing that, but
The MLS sheet does that at the bottom.
Well, there's also that form, the notice of information from other sources,
Okay.
that kind of covers you.
It's either number 9 or number 12, and that very clearly explains in a paragraph that it's the buyer that needs to look at square footage.
so we probably ought to spend a little time, which we don't have right now, but there's a couple of forms that the trade association has, like that one, that we probably ought to do on every listing. And
So, sorry to interrupt, if you come to contracts classes, you'll learn that that's what I advise on every single listing, that you do notice of information from other sources. So you're showing if there's a difference, or if there's not a difference, you're showing the seller what you found in your research, so you can hand that to them, and then they can dispute it, and at that point have a conversation about possibly having an appraiser come out and measure the property, cost $100, $150. Saves you a whole lot of time, and you can provide the square footage measurement and put appraiser on the MLS, and so it's not your word or their words, it's the appraiser's word.
and provide that information, and also you understand that if we hired 2 appraisers today to measure the same house,
You'll get 2 different.
we'll get 2 different answers.
Yeah, that's the problem I've seen over my years, is you'll see the county records and it'll give you one, and you go to an appraiser, he'll give you one. You can go to somebody else and he'll give you another one, and they all swear they're correct.
Well, and it's getting a little weirder. I don't know if y'all had that guy come up here and talk about surveys
We did, yeah.
recently, and talk to you about people who are doing surveys without actually going to the property and just doing it by satellite, and that they can be off, and so that's my other concern about an appraiser measuring a house. I mean, they need to go out there with a tape measure.
Even when it's hot?
Even when it's hot. I mean,
Some appraisers on 2 stories appraise 2 stories differently.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so that's normally where you have the real
Yep.
variance.
Yep. Well, and also if they can't get inside, they don't know how big the garage is. They can't take it all out.
Yeah, so I actually met an appraiser last week, and she said a couple of things that were pretty interesting. First off, she was one of 80 out of 3,000 in the state. Anyway, she said that they measure from the outside, and so even if it's the same floor plan, if you happen to have hardy plank on one and brick on the other, that could be,
Oh, yeah.
many more square feet. And she's seen cases, especially on 2 stories, where the appraisal district would go by and see the house and see that there was an upstairs and assume that was all flooring, but when you actually got inside and found out that there was a big, 20-foot ceiling when you got inside it, and they were able to disprove or prove that people were being overcharged based on square footage. So it's worth that $150 or whatever $50 it is to have them go out there, and they're glad to do it, because it's an easy job for them.
Well, it's just also, it's a third party, it's
Yeah.
another.
Yeah, and you just provide that information.
Correct, and then if the, yeah.
It's another person for the lawyer to name in the lawsuit.
Yeah.
I want to ask you your thoughts on the situation we have right now. The contract we have for the listers, we have a contract to close on July 5th. So or before July 5th. So the the buyer has realized that he wants to go away for the 4th of July weekend. And they're trying to move it up to this Friday, the 28th. Well, the problem is our contract says we will replace the roof, and we've told them that, and we have a roofer scheduled, and he should be done by Friday, but that could be Friday at 8 o'clock, or it could rain. So what is your
What does the
thoughts?
lender, is there a lender involved?
Yes,
Is the lender aware of what's going on?
I don't think so.
Okay. First of all, that's a problem for me. If a lender doesn't know what you're doing, that's a problem. It's like we're trying to do something sneaky. And I'm not saying
just
you
don't
are,
know.
because you are the
Yeah.
seller, and so I'm just saying. Because my question would be, if the lender knows it and the lender is willing to close it with this pending, with the bid and everything in progress, then I don't see a problem with it. If the lender doesn't know, then you're going to have some sort of a hope. I'm sure somewhere along the way title is going to get involved, and the lender's going to find out. And are they going to be gone the whole week next week?
Apparently,
So it's Friday, or then whatever it is, July the 8th.
they're wanting to move it out to the 8th, which is beyond the contract.
Well, then you need to extend the closing date on the contract.
The lender is gonna require you to escrow 1.5 times if they escrow the price of that roof, is what they usually do.
Yeah.
If they
Okay.
don't know.
Well,
Well, they need to know.
I would extend it.
Or you could do a remote closing.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Well, we were gonna do that anyway, but the seller is in Houston, the buyer is here. Are you saying when he goes on his trip, he can close?
Yes.
I mean,
On his trip.
he can go to his motel room and they can fax it, email, whatever.
Well, no, they'd have to have.
Does anybody not use that form, that you give to someone to give the lender permission to talk to the listing agent?
Oh,
Remember that form?
the TIR form.
Yeah, but, yeah, the listing,
So you can talk as
third-party
listing agent
financing.
to the lender.
Third-party financing agreement, doesn't it still say that?
It was a separate form.
Yeah, no, that was because of
Yeah, it does
the
say it
changes,
now.
that was because of the changes when we went from a HUD statement to a closing disclosure.
Yeah, no, it's in there. It covers you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's been
In
there
the
for a long time.
third-party financing addendum,
Mhm.
okay.
One of
Yeah.
the last couple of sentences is that everybody has permission to talk to the lender. Now, they don't have to answer your questions,
But you do have the right to inform.
but you do have the right to talk to them. Yep.
how would you feel about the title company writing the check that would come out of the seller's funds, writing the check to the roofer, and you holding the check?
Or the
until
title
roof
company
is put
holding the
on,
check.
And then you pay them?
I had a check in my purse and I'm meeting the roofer at 1 o'clock to have, which is what he wanted to start up. And.
Pretend you didn't hear
do
that.
Yeah, I thought he talked about that, having them just take it out of the clothing fund. What, what's so funny?
She read.
Edith's face was.
When you said you had the check in your purse, I almost had a
It's not from her though.
coronary.
It's not for me.
I understand, but what happens if something happens to you?
What
Where's
happens
that
if
check
you get in a
gonna be?
car accident?
Here's what happened with that, okay? The roofer told my client, who's an old friend of mine in Houston, to wire him half the funds. She sends me an email, oh, I just put a check in the mail to you for half of the roof. So,
I'll watch her.
here's the check.
Have a backup plan
Yeah.
for what you're gonna do with that.
Don't let her have any helium balloons, okay?
Just so many,
I know.
yeah. We don't expect anything to go wrong, and anything can go wrong.
I'll put it in my folder, and if I die, Pat.
Don't put it in
take
there,
over.
then you tell all these people you're gonna put a check.
Yeah.
Put it on Facebook.
Yeah.
Wow. Show the traffic.
Okay, hold on.
Show the traffic.
Let me.
You got to see this. This yesterday. Okay, most of you know that Harry and I bought a house with some land on it in Comanche County, and I spend time up there when I can. And yesterday I was coming back to Williamson County, and had a traffic jam right outside of Comanche, and I videotaped it and wanted you to see it.
2 cars.
3
No.
Just wait and see.
At a stoplight.
Hang on.
Where is Comanche?
North, west of here.
Northwest.
Did you come back down through Vernon?
No, I come down 16 to Lampasas.
Oh, there we go.
16 to Goldthwaite and then to Lampasas.
Or as some people say, go away.
Oh, did you send me Grace the Gazelle too?
Yeah, but don't show Grace the Gazelle.
Okay.
You can show. Julie would like Grace the Gazelle. A picture of my dog jumping in the grass like this. Okay.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
That's great.
This is a major highway. Highway 16.
I'm surprised they're all hosting.
Yeah.
It's a dairy. Dairy.
Dairy farm. Yeah.
But taking them across the
Is that
road.
near the border?
No.
Oklahoma border.
So at the end of it, you get to hear my dog when she finally wakes up and looks up, going.
And we noticed that there was a couple of cows walking back the other way. They didn't want to go.
It's not great around the other side.
Yep. And Donna clarified that I said they didn't want to go to the other field. She said that is a pasture. That is not a field. Fields are for planting crops.
So anyway, I'm not the best. Here's the That's my dog going on. She wants out. Let me go chase that cows. Okay, thank y'all. See you later.
All right. I'll show you guys the other one at the end. Good morning. Good morning. It's good to see you all this morning. So y'all heard about the plumber situation in Texas, right? How they were planning on not having them have to be licensed for a while because of the insanity, exactly. So the governor decided to step in and say, look, we're going to guarantee that they must remain licensed for 2 more years. Thank goodness. Now, the real question is, did the governor have the power to be able to do that? Which Avis and I talked about this morning. We think it'll probably end up going to going to a special session, and that it'll probably end up going to the court because there's, we have a 2-party system. One party says that, it shouldn't have been done that way. The other party says, hey, we don't really care. It was done that way. We're good to go. And it just is what it is. I mean, it's part of the whole game. So we'll see what actually happens, but we ended up inviting a plumber to come and join us today to speak about it. His name is Mike Kershke. I want to see if he is out there right now. Have you seen him yet, Diane?
He said he would be here at 11.
Okay. Well, it's 11. Hold on 1 second. I'll be right. Talk with him. He's going to talk to us about, why it's so important that people have licenses, some of the horror stories he's run across because he is a master plumber and he's had to go and fix a lot of things that non-licensed people have done. So he's going to come and share with us a little bit about that and why it's so important. And, as always, if I don't understand it either. I think it's
Don't you have to be licensed electrician?
you do have to be a licensed plumber and a licensed electrician. You don't have to be a licensed roofer in the state of Texas, though. So,
Build a house.
yeah, you don't even have to have a license to build a house. So, yeah,
Yeah, contractor that.
yeah, there's
But
no
you have to
contractor
be-
licenses.
It also says professional, so I would,
Professionally engaged in the activity is what it says.
so I would call a roofer.
Yeah, somebody who's professionally engaged in roofing. But what's the definition of professionally engaged?
There's a roofer.
It's a very, very gray area. So he's got a truck with his name on it. That's professionally engaged. Yeah. Okay. That's what did you say?
I'll tell you later.
Okay. Okay.
He'll know.
Does that apply to the commercial plumbers as well? Is that?
Everyone who is a plumber in the state of Texas must have a license to be a plumber in the state of Texas. Now, what happened in this last legislative session is every 6 years, each licensed entity in the state of Texas goes through what they call the Sunset Commission. And they have to basically go up, plead their case for remaining a organization that requires a license in the state of Texas. So Avis had to do that this last year on behalf of the Real Estate Commission. So she had to go and plead the case as to why the Real Estate Commission should still remain a licensed entity in the state of Texas. That's its own licensed entity, not just the Department of Licensing. So that's what happened for the Real Estate Commission, and obviously things worked out, so they're good for the next 6 years. They don't have to worry about the Sunset Commission anymore. So in this case, Mike the plumber, here we go. Come on up, buddy. Mike Kershke, let's welcome him. Thanks for being here. So you want to talk to us a little bit about, why it's important to have to hire a licensed plumber, and why we're glad the governor did what he did by stepping in?
Okay.
Don't get me started.
All right, Mike. What the deal is that the state, certain legislators decided that the Sunset Commission decided that our board was not competent enough because we were 8 months behind on testing, okay? They're cutting our budget by 15% every year. So we don't even have enough money to pay our examiners, okay, to train the next generation of plumbers. So it's making it really hard on us to do this. So they decided that we weren't competent enough that we needed to be abolished. First they thought we were going to roll us over to TDLR, which, they didn't decide in the 86 legislation. They decided not to do anything, which is we'll abolish the board. Well, by doing that, there are several factors that come into play. First off, your healthcare systems. All your medical gas coming into your hospitals will no longer be regulated, okay? That means you don't know where that oxygen's coming from, okay? Natural gas, the same way. All throughout the state will not be regulated anymore. There will no longer be inspections for any of this because the inspectors won't be licensed anymore, okay? The backflow testing to prevent any Legionnaire's disease or any diseases that come into the water, that license will be no longer required, okay? That any handyman out there can come and do this from now on, come September 1st. But our governor signed an executive order extending our board for 2 more years. So we got to get our act together and get this board put together and make some changes to our board to make sure it's more effective this time, okay? There are groups of plumbers that are coming together. There's one in particular, it's 71,000 Plumb Strong website. They're just a plumbing company out of San Antonio, and they're just linking us all together to make one voice. Because apparently our PHCC doesn't want to help us in that aspect. They say they're there every board meeting and every legislation meeting, but they're not.
What's PACC?
Plumbing, Heating, Cooling Contractors of America. They're the biggest lobbyist in the country. They lobby for all plumbing, heating, and cooling.
Not very well.
And on the federal level.
Not very well then, right?
Apparently not, okay? But they didn't stop this. I even questioned them, they had no response. But they said they'd be there at the rally that took place a couple weeks ago, or about a week ago at the Capitol. We figured about 5,000 to 7,000 plumbers showed up.
Wow.
That's not all of us. There's over 100 and something thousand licensees in the state. That's just plumbers. That's not including the inspectors, anybody else. Every city has to have an inspector to pass inspections for new construction of any building or property. So what is that gonna do to y'all? Well, the insurance company, they just gave them an out by doing that. And the way that works is, and I talked to a police officer about this, those criminal laws that we put in place to stop these handymen and prosecute them will no longer be effective.
Right.
Okay, so your insurance companies require in the state that if you have any property damage caused by plumbing, that you have to have a licensed plumber come out and do the repairs. Well, there won't be a license anymore, so therefore.
They have
won't
an
to
out.
Cover nothing. Wow. So that's gonna really affect the real estate industry. You know, trying to get these properties covered for insurance. It's gonna drive every homeowner's insurance through the roof. And nobody's gonna like it. And that's when, and then it's too late. The reason the board got formed in the beginning was in 1937 due to the New London accident. It killed over 500 students and teachers. It was a natural gas explosion that destroyed a schoolhouse, wiped out generations of that town in one blast due to a maintenance man working on natural gas. That was why the board got initialized. And from what I understand from Master Number One, who's still around, he spoke and he said, originally legislation said that the plumbing board could be set forth, but they weren't gonna fund us. That was the original deal. So 6 board members who were plumbers went down to a local bank and borrowed the money to fund our board for 2 years until it got caught up and started bringing in money. Then the state decided to start taking it. I don't know if they ever got paid back. I don't know. But it's a dangerous thing, and it happens to everybody. 2 weeks ago in Dallas, 2 people and their dog were found dead in their house due to carbon monoxide poisoning due to a handyman working on the water heater. Okay? They're not allowed to work on any gas appliances in this state whatsoever. Don't hire them. Don't bring them in, because you're putting your license in danger too, because if you hire a handyman, it comes back on you. Okay? Because you are state licensed, just like I am. The homeowners, I feel bad for them because they get messed around daily by these handymen. I'm going behind these guys fixing all this stuff, but you know, my dad always said, don't knock these guys because they guarantee me work. Well, you know, it's made me a pretty good career, but you know, I still feel bad for the homeowners. I want them to be smart homeowners, so I try to inform them about everything. You know, what's going on in the state, what new products are out there and this and that. These handymen, they're just not doing it. They're not cutting it. They really aren't. Did y'all ever hear about the Gatesville hospital explosion a few years back?
Mm-mm.
What?
Gatesville.
Hospital, right up here in Gatesville, Texas. Okay, they got the report back. Took 2 years to get back. The hospital exploded due to a handyman working on a natural gas line. Mm-hmm.
Who's trying to do away with you all? Licensing?
The leader of the group is Chris Pratty.
Is he?
He's legislator of District 7.
Right.
Where's districts? No way.
Yes. I go behind these home inspectors all the time.
Oh,
I don't
man.
knock them. They're good for homeowners, especially the ones that are newbies that don't know anything about homes. It helps them a lot. I agree with that, but I think they need more training. I really do. Okay? And that would be up to y'all's board to do so.
Yeah.
Okay? Because I've got homeowners that are being scared or tempered into fixing things that should not be fixed. I'm not gonna name names right now, but I have a homeowner that's trying to sell her house, and the inspector told her that the house needed combustion air for the water heater. Okay? Does anybody know what combustion air for the water heater is? It's a big 6 or 8 inch pipe that's right beside the water heater that goes up to into the attic or goes to the outside. And you'll have one high and one low, and that's so that a gas water heater can breathe. It has to have air. If you ain't got air, then it can't breathe. This house apparently doesn't have it, but he said it's not the code. The house is 5 years old. It's the code. He just don't know that. And the only time you have to make changes to your plumbing system is when you have to pull a permit per code. That's the only time you have to make changes to it. If your water heater fails, you gotta pull a permit and bring it to code at that time. If you get a gas leak, you can't get your gas turned on until you do a pressure test, bring it to code, and get your inspection. Then you can get your gas turned back on. Don't let any handyman you know work on any gas anywhere, because it is very, very dangerous, because they don't know to check for leaks or anything like that.
Is it safe for them to put an expansion tank on it?
The expansion tank, let me explain what that does. A lot of people don't know what the story of it is. What it is water heaters create thermal expansion through heating the hot water, okay? And it expands up through the cold water lines. Well, in the old days, you used to be able to go out to the meter and watch the meter turn backwards. You were actually making money when it was heating, because it was pushing that water back into the city. But since we put check valves and PRVs into systems and made it a closed system, where so there is no room for expansion. It has nowhere to expand to. So the consequences are a water heater will split at the seam, bulge from the bottom, putting your flame out, okay? Y'all have to remember, this water heater is basically a bomb. I'm not sure if anybody's ever seen the National Geographic deal where they did a story on water heaters, but they heated up a natural gas water heater, capped off the TMP line, overheated it in a 2-story farmhouse. It was on the first floor. It launched out through the roof, okay, through the second floor roof, blew up everything within 20 feet of it, and landed a quarter mile away.
There's an episode of Mythbusters about that too. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, exactly. They did that intentionally. I've seen that episode. But the expansion tank, it absorbs that expansion. There's a bladder in there. It's kind of like a well. I know y'all have seen wells where you got, you know, a big bladder tank. Well, it absorbs that expansion. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
What about gas ranges?
Gas ranges, they still have to be licensed to install.
So you mean a plumber needs to install that?
Technically, after the gas valve, they can, okay, but they're considering an appliance. It's a verbiage. That's one of the things that needs to be changed in the rules, and they haven't changed it yet, is that any gas appliances need to be listed under gas. Because right now, it's only water heaters and furnaces, okay? Now, the AC guys are allowed to run up to a 5-foot extension from the original location without being licensed. And they still have to get the inspection just like we do, but they don't have to be licensed to do so.
So you would suggest as an agent, if the range were failing or they can work on the oven to adjust something.
They can work on the appliance itself.
However, to install a new one, you would suggest a plumber if it were a gas stove?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Because, for instance, there was a deal in Fort Worth when I was living up there about 15, 20 years ago. There was a tenant in an apartment complex that decided, you know, I'm mad at y'all. Y'all charge me too much money. So, you know what, I'm gonna take the appliances with me. So they took all the appliances out of the apartment, ripped the stove out, and shut the gas off. Left. Blew the building up.
Oh my God.
Killed 5 people.
Oh my gosh.
Mhm. That's all it takes is one idiot to do this.
Yeah, and there are a lot of them.
Yes, sir.
You know, Mike, with all the new construction, my concern is it's bad enough, some of the labor that's out there putting in the piping before they lay the concrete, right? And, you know, the very little inspection is done before they lay the concrete. So now you got all that plumbing, and you got some guy that doesn't know what he's doing laying that pipe.
Well,
And then we get all these leaks later on, you know.
Well, the rule is, if you're building new construction, you have to get an inspection in the state. And if it's plumbing, if you have a plumber working on it, that plumber is obligated to the state law, not, if 10 miles out in the country, he's still obligated to state law, and it still has to be inspected by an inspector, okay? A third-party inspection company who is licensed by the state plumbing board to do those inspections, okay?
But we're not gonna have that, is what you're saying.
That's right, none of that, all that will go away.
So they can throw anybody in there to lay that pipe.
That's right, that's right.
Who do you all have working for you?
Ma'am?
Who do you have working for you in the legislature, though?
It's not very many people. We got PHCC supposed to be lobbying, and they're not.
Kristen out there?
When it came to that. And then it took the plumbers to stand up and go against the state. The reason why the governor, in my opinion, okay, he signed the executive order on Thursday, right before the rally, is because he's seen how many petitioners there were. We had over 100,000 already signed. And from what I understand, it only takes 100,000 to impeach in the state. So we could throw the governor out of office. So he got a little scared and signed the executive order. Yeah. So what it's gonna take is legislation to sit down and talk with the board and talk with the plumbers and understand what needs to be done throughout the state. Okay?
Kristen, I got a quick question for you.
Yes.
Is there somebody at TreePack that we can put him and that organization in contact with that them work together on this? Because this really does affect homeowners in a big way.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Do you guys know if you're already in contact with anybody at Texas Association of Realtors?
Nope.
Okay.
Not that I know of, you know.
I saw Leslie last night at the grocery store, so I'll just give her a call today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
You got it.
You know, because us plumbers need everybody to know about this. It's
Yeah.
not just our livelihoods, you know. That's not what we're really concerned about. We're really concerned about the public safety.
Well,
And that's the worst.
And I'm gonna plug, just politically, the true, you know, I guess feet on the ground is everyone in this room.
Yeah.
As a realtor, if you're investing in TreePack, you go and you make changes based on your vote. And statistically, realtors are the biggest group of people who go and vote. We have the highest voter turnout. And so if you're educated on topics such as this, then you can go and vote and help the state make those decisions based on what's going on. Or you can call your local legislature, your local reps, and have this conversation. Avis is close with Judge Carter and Congressman Carter. And so, you know, he knows that if someone is calling and they're Avis's agent, someone pick up the phone. Or, you know, so I'm just saying that it's not just the folks at TR that can make the change.
Yeah.
You guys in this room
Absolutely.
can make the change. And even doing your investment, your fair share, depending on the board you're at, is either 35 or 45. But making an investment in TreePack does help. And then depending on where you sit at the local board, then your money goes into that and then is used in the county in which you serve, right? Or where your board is located that helps with local issues such as this. So locally, the money goes back to the representatives in your area to help them understand where your opinion is on this matters.
Now I would imagine that the next time the election comes around, District 7, there's going to be a lot of money invested against this individual.
Probably so. Probably so. Probably so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No problem.
Any other questions for Mike? Yeah.
Bring business cards.
No, ma'am, I didn't.
Can you spell your last name?
Mom.
Krisky, Krischke.
Wait a minute, K-R-I-S-T.
Krisch.
We'll send out his information.
Donna, will you
Okay.
send- Donna will send it out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was very
I had to
valuable.
walk 3 blocks to get over here, so I can't run to the truck to get a card.
Do you
Mike,
have
I'll give
plumbers
them my
going
card,
Okay.
and then you can send it out.
Yes,
Do
ma'am.
you have licensed plumbers going around talking to the representatives and explaining all this to them?
We do, we were asking every licensed plumber to speak to every one of our legislators, because we're scattered throughout the state.
Yeah.
You know, so we're in every legislator's district
Right.
throughout the state. So we're urging all the plumbers to come up and contact our legislators and complain. We do have several plumbers that are in, that have made appointments with the legislators to go and sit down and talk with them. Our next board meeting is July 15th, I think. And we're urging everybody to come down. It's a public meeting, so anybody can attend. Come down and talk to the board and explain your, you know, express your concerns about it.
Where do we go?
Texas State Plumbing Board down there at, was it,
30 seconds?
give me a second. I don't know, 42nd Street and 35, right across from the Montgomery Ward building, old Montgomery Ward building. We're right across the street. We plan on filling that parking lot. There'll be coffee and breakfast stuff.
929 East 41st Street.
There you
What time?
go. Starts at 9. We urge everybody to get there sooner.
On what day?
Give me just a second to verify the date. I think it's the 15th.
Okay.
Y'all need to go talk to people in Texas Board of Realtors too.
Well, also to every real estate company.
We try, you know.
It's hard.
Sorry.
When are they, when are they planning on making, is July 15th when they're gonna make a final decision on this? Is this gonna be?
No,
No.
this is a plumbing board meeting. It's not a legislative meeting. The legislation won't meet until the 87th legislation, which is next year.
Okay,
So
thank you.
we have, so we got until then. Well, it's actually the, is it the 87th or is it the 88th legislation? They meet every year, right?
They meet every 2 years.
Every 2 years, so it's the 87th legislation, so it'll be 2 years from now.
I got the DG now.
We're good for.
Oh, where did we put this? See, we got plumbing supply houses that are starting to step up. Morrison Supply has, as of 3/6/19, they've decided not to sell any gas water heaters to any unlicensed plumber. It has to be licensed only. Okay?
Wow.
Good.
Home Depot and Lowe's will not comply.
Of course they won't. There goes their entire market.
Yep. I'll just have to email one of
Yeah,
y'all.
that'd be great. If you could email it to Donna, we'll make sure that everyone gets it.
Because I can't seem to find it.
And then we'll make sure you get in contact with the Texas Association of Realtors as well.
Okay,
All right?
all right.
Appreciate it, Mike. Let's give it up for Mike. Was that valuable?
Yes.
Good. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. And I don't care if it's a Democrat or a Republican that's in that seat, that person needs to go. Because they're literally putting the entire state and its residents at risk by not being willing to keep something that's so important, that's literally the most explosive thing in our home, and letting anyone just manage it. And then, like he mentioned, I didn't even think about the medical field. I mean, is it really oxygen they're delivering? You know, we got to make sure that it's all taken care of. So I wanted to share this with you. You know, what do you mean? Marketing your home without me? With me. And speaking of marketing, we're going to talk a little bit about how many of you guys have gone into Command since this last weekend? Okay. They did a huge update on the marketing platform inside of Command called Sketchhouse. And I want to show you guys some of the things that it can do this morning. So let me go to Agent, Command agent.kw.com. That's how you get there. Apple TV. Y'all making fun of each other up here? All right. So you just sign in once you go to agent.kw.com.
Wait, can you start over?
Haha, funny. And then you'll go over here to this button that's called Sketchhouse. Or you can click on the one over here that's also called Sketchhouse. Right here. It's a little easier to see. And then you'll let it load. Yeah. All right, and then all you're going to have to do to create any marketing materials or anything that you would like to create, you'll just hit this plus button over in the right-hand corner of the screen. And then it's going to ask you what kind of template type that you want. It's going to take a second to load because everyone in here is on the internet right now.
But we should all be paying attention to you, so it shouldn't be that easy.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, I'm on the wrong internet, so let me disconnect and reconnect. There we go. Training. There we go. Can somebody play the Jeopardy music? Let me refresh it real quick. There we go. All right, so once you hit the plus button and you're on a quick connection, it'll pop up with this. It's going to say email, landing page, social, or print. So if you hit the social button right here, you're going to be able to hit create template, and then it'll load again. And once it does that, there's over 400 different templates in here that you can choose from to create marketing materials that are really, really easy to use.
Any chance are you going to do another very beginning?
Yes, yes, I will be doing another beginning command class. It probably won't be until the 3rd week of July. All right, so here's what it looks like. So there's a for sale tab, there's a just sold tab, open house, client testimonial, local expert, home value, client love, business basics. There's one called I love KW, and then you won't have the leadership tab, but you will have an event invitation. If you wanted to create any event invitations or anything like that, you can do it through here. On the for sale one, you just click on any one of these and you can drag and drop pictures to it. It's pretty easy to use. And then for the client love one, it's got like birthday announcements, make a wish for their 1st anniversary. And then it's got a tab up at the top for Instagram. And how many of you guys are familiar with Instagram stories? Yeah, so you can create those Instagram stories that are, have stuff moving on them and keep people's attention. And then there's also stuff for LinkedIn specifically. There's stuff for Twitter. There's the local expert tab, which uses the language of real estate. So it talks about, you can use our language of real estate numbers, or if you know what your numbers are and how you're outpacing the market, you can utilize those there. If you have clients who have given you testimonials, it's really easy to just drop it in right here. So you just click on the one that you want to use. It'll pop up. And then you just type in what you want to type in. If you want to change the background picture, you can by just hitting that. This is a terrible example, but I'm going to drag my face back there. So there you go. Now client testimonial is my face. So it's really, really easy to just drag and drop that. If you're going to be using pictures that you have Googled, keep in mind there are copyright laws in the United States of America. So just make sure that you're choosing images that are part of the public domain or that you've paid for the rights to use. There's also a ton of images that are on here already. Like if you click the stock button, any of these images that pop up over here, you can use the company images. There's a ton of KW stock images in here that you can use. So you shouldn't really have to go too far to find images that you want to use in here. It's become very, very easy to use, like Canva. So for those of you who have used Canva before, very similar concept. And it's just made it so much easier than what it was before. And if you wanted to go and create a landing page, those are even easier than what they were. They were pretty easy before when you could get it to work. Now it's even easier. So you just go back to your KW Connect tab, not KW Connect, Command. So agent.kw.com. And then you'll go back to Sketchhouse. And in this case, you'll just hit the plus button, and then you'll choose landing page, create template.
Scott, I'm showing leadership on mine.
Oh, it is? Oh, good.
Is that supposed to be there?
That's
for
perfect then,
agents?
yeah.
Okay.
They told me that it wouldn't be, so they must have fixed it since the other day. There's a leadership tab so that you can,
They
there's,
fixed the contacts thing too.
yeah, yeah.
That was upsetting.
So if you wanted to create a market snap that you could send out just generically to everyone, you could do that right here. And then now if you add your agent branding to it as well, it will actually have it on there for you so that you don't have to do it yourself. So right now I'm Katie Bauer, but as soon as I click the, thank you, Tom. As soon as I click customize landing page up here at the top, I will all of a sudden no longer be Katie Bauer.
Scott?
Yes.
Is there like a timeline when people should be migrated off of the edge onto?
The sooner you start working on it, the better. I wouldn't tell you to turn off your entire e-edge probably for the next 6 months or so. But start putting your contacts and things like that into Command. And if you want to get really good at it, spend 10 minutes a day just doing something in it. You don't have to spend all day, every day on it. I mean, how many of you guys spent, 3 or 4 hours at a time playing with e-edge? Probably none of you, right? Yeah. What about dot loop? Did dot loop, you kind of learned it as you went, right? Same thing with this. I mean, just spend a little bit of time every single day on it, and you won't have to stress about it. Of course, the internet's acting up on me right now, so I can't show you what I wanted to show you in here. But when you have a reliable internet connection, it's really easy. I did it the other day from my house. And I can show you some of the landing pages that I created yesterday, like this one right here.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah. So this changed it. It automatically changed the top portion for me. And then it's got just a general landing page here with information about Santa Rita Ranch, which is where I live. And then an about section down here at the bottom. So, and then if anyone goes on here, they can also hit this button where it says download my app, and it'll take them right to the app. If they're browsing from their phone, right now it's going to take me to this page right here, and it'll ask me for my mobile number so they can text me a link to my app. But if you go directly to that page from like something you've posted on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, or maybe you just text that link to somebody, when they click it and they click the download my app button, it's going to automatically take them to the Apple Store to download the thing, or to the Google Play Store based upon what kind of operating system they have. So,
I really don't even know what the landing page is.
So yeah, a landing page is really just a way to get people engaged with you. So you post something that maybe you post, hey, here's what the market looks like in Santa Rita Ranch right now. And you want to get them to engage by clicking on that page. And then somewhere on that page is going to be a call to action of some sort. In this case, my call to action is download my mobile app. Okay. In some cases, it could be click here to find out more. And in that case, it's going to request for them to put in their contact information. Now, there is a class that I'm working on bringing into the Market Center that integrates, have you guys heard of Google Pixel? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so Google Pixel, you can actually integrate into Command as well on your landing pages that you create. And then as soon as somebody clicks on your landing page from Google, or not from Google, from Facebook, it's not Google Pixel, it's Facebook Pixel, sorry. As soon as somebody clicks on that landing page, it'll automatically grab their contact information that they have on their Facebook page and send it directly to you, or upload it to a spreadsheet for you so that you have their contact information without ever having to actually ask them for it. It's going to pull their Facebook information on there, or if you're already a friend with them, it'll pull every contact detail about them on there and put it in a spreadsheet for you. So we're working on bringing that into the Market Center here so that as soon as you start creating these landing pages, once people click on them, it's automatically going to grab their information for you so that you don't have to go back and ask for it multiple times. Any questions about that? All right. I want to encourage you to go and play with this stuff because there's some really, really neat marketing materials on there. It's user-friendly now, and you should just be able to drag and drop stuff and just have fun with it. It's a friendly experience as opposed to what it was when it first came out. So.
I just got a note that said it's not usable
On a, what's not usable?
It said, what is that?
Sketchhouse, you're not going to be able to create things from your phone. No, you're going to have to do it from a desktop or a laptop. Yeah, or you can do it from an iPad as well. But you can't create things from your cell phone. No, that's not going to work that way because you're trying to create something huge on a screen that's this size. Just there's no way to drag and drop in a good way there. So let's go back to what's going on in the Market Center. Any other questions about this? Monday, every Monday morning from 9:30 to 10:30, we have Command Central. This last week, we went over these things with each person that came in, and we'll take as much or as little time as you need during that to work on where you are.
So you're tutoring.
What's that?
You're doing some tutoring.
Tutoring, yeah, it's like tutoring. With the exception of this coming Monday, I won't be in the office, so we won't have next week. We will not have team meeting or Command Central. We won't have those things next week because it's 4th of July week. A lot of people won't be here. What's that?
You're taking off going somewhere.
I'm taking off. I'm going to San Antonio. Yes. Yes. We'll make sure it gets taken off. All right, so what do we got going on in the Market Center? Command Central every single Monday except for this coming Monday. And then Round Robin Scripts. How's that going, Tom?
Gosh, it's good. It actually is really good. It'd be great to have some people that know what they're doing come in and talk about the experiences where they don't know what they should say.
Yeah.
I'm not going to use an agent because I never have and it's of no use to me. Oh, what do you say now?
Yeah. Or, hey, I'm not going to be represented, so I'd like you to discount the house by 3% or whatever it is that they choose. There's ways to overcome objections like that because at the end of the day, remember, you get a listing agreement signed with whom? The seller. The seller has chosen and said that they'll pay you whatever percent you agree upon. You're not obligated at all if somebody unrepresented comes to give that money away. Many people choose to do it. You're not obligated to do it, though. All right, Texan offers. Tomorrow we're going to have another class from 1 to 3. Right now we've written 37 offers. It's helped agents to pick up 20 listings so far. We're under contract to purchase one home in Hutto that we'll be closing on the 12th of July. And then that'll immediately turn around and become one of our agents' listings as well. If you have questions about it or you just want more information, come and see me about it. Come to our class tomorrow. Tomorrow's class will be done and recorded as well. So that in the future, if you need to if you want to learn more about it and you want to participate in that class, you'll just send me an email. If you haven't ever taken one before, I'll send you the class, and then you'll have permission to utilize TexanOffers.com. Any questions about that? All right. How's Never Ending Referrals going, Kristen?
It's going wonderful. We had an agent yesterday's Monday, right? Yes. Who called their database, somebody that had told them previously that they decided not to sell, and she called them back, through Never Ending Referrals, kind of working up the energy to do so, and she did, and she is going to list the property for over $900,000. So.
Oh my gosh!
So
you're telling me that was like a $27,000 phone call she made?
That's what I'm telling you. That's what I'm telling you. And the beautiful part of this is not locally. The beautiful part of this is that all of you have that money sitting in your database. You just have to take the time to nurture those relationships and kind of get over our own insecurities about what other people think, because they need us, right? They need us when they're making these tough decisions. So Never Ending Referrals this last week was about client parties, how to do them, how to leverage them. It was really great. So come join us every
$900,000, one phone call.
One phone call.
Wow.
One phone call.
Man,
It's more than what some people make in an entire year. So just
That's
saying,
true.
you've got that sitting in your database
that's
somewhere.
that's like what the plumber board guy said, that they need to pay people, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, just
Wow,
saying. So
all right.
yeah, we'd love to see you there. You can start it at any time. So NER is 8 weeks. We are on, this will be the 5th week coming up this Monday. And so we will finish out right before Bold starts. And then right after Bold, we will start NER again. They don't run concurrently because of the homework and some of the stuff that we've got going
Yeah.
on. So this will restart again probably in October.
and speaking of Bold, we have Bold coming up. That will be here in this room, starting the first week of August. Our intention is that it's going to be on Tuesdays. We don't have confirmation on that yet. We probably will have confirmation on that sometime later this week. Our Bold coach is a lady that's named Beth Torrance. She's an amazing individual, has really, really great reviews, and she's a NLP master practitioner as well, along with Julie over there. So you were actually in a class with her for quite some time, right?
We were in the master prac class for 2 weeks last year.
In Hawaii?
No, this was in California.
Okay.
She was a bow coach. She found out it was Keller Williams, so she followed me the whole 2 weeks.
Yeah, she bolded you the whole 2 weeks, exactly. And Bolco, no, I don't know what Bolco is. I know what Plinko is. That's a game on.
What are you talking about?
We're talking about Bold. Bold is a class that we have, and it's been completely redone. So don't worry about it being 100 contacts and 100 phone calls that you have to make in a single week. The class has stepped into the 21st century. So text messages count, Facebook messages count. As long as you have a two-way dialogue with people, it now counts as part of your contacts. And the people who have been doing it in the last session and now in this session have been having incredible results with the new way that they've redesigned the program. So I'm really, really excited about bringing it because it's a whole new experience, and you don't have to have money thrown on you anymore. That step's gone. So.
And I think the best part is Bold is now going to encompass a lot of what Never Ending Referrals teaches, right? And so I think a lot of agents, if you look out at every coaching program that's available, what's the one overall arching theme you're going to find? Referrals, and how do you get referrals? You know it, you don't have to go to dinner with everyone. You're a resource, right? You're a confidant. You're whatever it is that you want to be to your people. So Bold will be hanging its hat on a lot of Never Ending Referrals systems.
I believe, don't take this out of this room, it's on YouTube anyways, but I believe what they've done is they've taken the best of two worlds. The best of the things that were in Bold before, and there's this gentleman named Brian Buffini, and he's really, really good at what he does. Wow.
Are you ready for the big turn? She's like, oh, that was my cue.
I thought I got struck by lightning. I'm just kidding. No, and that's really where these two worlds have really come together now in what Bold is today, is by teaching the practices and things like that from what we've done as a company at KW for a long time and what Buffini's been teaching for a long time as well. It's bringing those two things together in a way that really brings it all toward making it all about the relationship and all about the experience. So I'm excited to have it here in the Market Center, and we'll be sharing more details with you about it very soon as we have the everything solidified.
Is he with Keller Williams?
No, he's his own guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thing he did in Palm Springs, California.
Yeah. He does one in Dallas in July, right?
Actually, it's October this year.
October. Okay, Fort Worth. All right, orientation's tomorrow morning at 9. If you haven't ever been to one, make sure you come. It's part of the whole deal. Zip into Zoom.
So,
What are we talking about tomorrow?
That's a good question. We'll probably do some more contractual stuff. An email will go out
I feel
today.
like it.
Last week we talked about backup contracts. How many people have ever put a backup contract on a listing or an offer, or been a listing agent on the other side of something that had a backup contract? How many times do you fill out that form going, what am I doing? You don't have to raise your hand, because I know that there's a couple of you out there.
kidding.
I don't know who you are, but I know mentally you're like, I think I did it right. So that's what we talked about last week. We talked about backup contracts, how to put it in, how to negotiate it with the current offer, when is it effective, how do those things change. We also talked about multiple offers. How do I submit multiple offers? How's the best way to negotiate them? What systems do I use to introduce multiple offers? So I have like a spreadsheet, right? How many people use a spreadsheet to introduce multiple offers to their clients? Oh man, you guys missed out on a great Zoom last week. So these are recorded. Scott is going to get these up on YouTube as soon as possible. So these classes are available to everyone. They're online. You can just phone in, you can computer in. It's really easy. It's 1 hour. And it's just really a great opportunity to brush up on some of those things that maybe if you haven't done them yet, you're going to learn them, or if you've been doing them for a while, but maybe want to update your best practices, I am happy to help with that.
I learned yesterday that it's actually available on Apple CarPlay now too, Zoom.
Oh.
You can't see anyone, but
You
the,
can listen.
the audio and everything is there.
And even if you call in just to listen, and that's a great, thank you, that's a great opportunity. Even if you just call in to listen, let's say you're driving from appointment to appointment, and you've got that time, it'll be recorded so you can see everything on my computer screen. So when I'm pulling up spreadsheets, you see what they look like. And then I share them with those who attend the class right after the Zoom calls. So just make sure that you guys are logging in. It's every Wednesday from 2 to 3. It doesn't matter whether I'm in the office or out. I can start that Zoom call. So it happens every Wednesday 2 to 3 unless otherwise noted on the calendar. And there's always great topics. So
Yeah.
And I'm open to them too. If there's something you want to learn about, just let me know, and I'm happy to put a Zoom together on that as well.
Awesome. If you still need to take the leasing class and you weren't able to make it last week, tomorrow Greg will be teaching it at Monteith Title in Killeen. It's a little bit of a drive, but he'll be up there tomorrow from 9 to 4. Class is $10, and I'll let you in on a little secret. He did it with us. He'll do it tomorrow. If you give him a review for his company at the end of the class, he waives the fee for the continuing education, and he takes care of the cost of it for you. So if you need to take, what's that?
6 hours.
It's you get 6 hours of continuing education for taking the class, so it's well worth your time.
Something and be
Entertained, yes, you will be entertained.
decide never to do leases.
Quite possibly, yeah. All right, and then broker responsibility. Avis will be teaching that here in the Market Center on July 17th. That's going to be a 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. class. If you need to take that, if you have a team, you have to take that. If you have your broker's license, you have to take that.
Who else would benefit from taking
That's every 2 years.
Every 2 years. Every 2 years. Every 2 years, you have to take that class to keep your license up to date. Anybody who
What about transaction coordinators?
a transaction coordinator would benefit from it. Truthfully, anybody who comes to this class is going to benefit from it. Yeah. If you have somebody who's even not licensed in on your team and watches the way that you do your transactions, it would still be beneficial for them to come to this class. So it's going to be, I think she's charging $20 for the class.
Yep.
So yeah, make sure you're there. We want to pack it out for that day.
Is that part of GRI?
It's not part of GRI, no. It's just, standalone class. And then masterminds are going to be this Friday from 9 to 10 if you're an individual agent. And then the team leader mastermind is going to be from 10 to 11. Megan and Brian, anything you want to add about that?
Just that on the team one, we're still going to do every 2 weeks here in this Market Center, but we're also going to take it up to Monteith once a month.
Good.
In Bell County.
Awesome. Perfect. And I'll be here for the masterminds on Friday morning as well this week.
So clarifying, masterminds, that is a meeting of the minds that is for
It's like
all
brainstorming
session, great for all different levels. The individual meeting is going to be is focused on individual agents, possibly team members that want to get some extra support, get some other ideas and working with other agents. This time we're going to be focusing on personal branding, I think.
Yep.
Yes?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. And then I was like, we had a few ideas, I just want to make sure. And then the team lead is going to be for, like we said, team leads, and we're going to be focusing on leads, CRMs, and
Purchasing leads, buying leads,
all these
integration of
things.
CRMs.
Yes.
Good.
So
Perfect.
really great for rainmakers or team leaders
Or somebody that's looking to create a
to
team.
create a team.
Yeah. Aspiring team leaders. There we go. All right, and then Legal 1 and 2 is going to be on July 19th. That'll be here in the office as well. Cost for both Legal 1 and 2 is $35. Any questions about that? Awesome. Anybody have a new listing they want to tell us about?
Wait, before we
Yes,
do that,
hold
can
on.
I make one more note?
Please.
I'm looking to put together a compliance Zoom, so if you are, or have someone on your team that is a transaction coordinator or an assistant helping you stay in compliance, will you send them to me, and I'm going to invite them to a special compliance call on how to set up compliance systems and a process for team structures. So, yes, Julie.
CMA class Thursday.
That's
Yes.
right. Thank you. I forgot to
Yes,
put that on
thank
there.
you. So if you do have somebody that, or if you are working on compliance systems yourself and how do I stay in compliance, just let me know and I will let you know when that is going on. And then CMA class is Thursday morning from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Miss Julie Jones is going to show you all how to do a market analysis and answer some questions for you. How many people could use a little brush up on market analysis training?
Yeah.
How many people
Yeah.
have listings sitting on the market right now? So a few more hands. So this market analysis class is a great way to decide how to even ask for a price reduction, right? We're coming into August. What happens in August?
School starts.
School starts. What happens when school starts in real estate? Slow, right? So just make sure that you guys are preparing for that by really understanding the best way to do a market analysis. And Miss Julie Jones was great. It's gonna be a good time. She has fun with it, and so you'll learn a lot.
Good.
Yep.
All right.
I have one thing.
Please.
The guy came by about this construction out here. Austin Avenue tomorrow, beginning at 7 o'clock, will be closed like it was before. There'll be one lane going either way from 29 past us, and hopefully done by 4. And 10th Street will be closed, period. So if we need to come into our parking lot, we have to come in
Go through the back.
over here and go
Yeah.
through the second one. on
They're
the
adding some
street.
concrete to level out the street there.
That's his hope.
Good.
And so hopefully tomorrow our street will be finished. That's what he said.
We should have a fake ribbon cutting ceremony.
Yes. So you know you're not gonna be able to come in on 10th Street.
All right. Okay. Any new listings? Yeah, Megan.
I've got one that we're getting on the market probably this weekend or early next week around the holiday. This one's in Burnett. I'm going to start far and then come on in. So 501 Shady Oak. This is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,500 square foot. I'll have full list of updates and things like that this week. And then right after the 4th of July, Parkview Estates, if anybody is looking for a single story, 4-bedroom, fully updated. I've not seen this floor plan in there. It does offer something really unique with the amazing updates that they've done. It's going to be in the low 300s.
Great. All right. Anyone else? Michael.
I've got one. I've got an exclusive 1-week listing right now. They're going to put it on the market, but it doesn't sell this week, but in August. But it's in St. Gabriel's Overlook.
Okay.
4-bedroom, 3-bath, 3,200 square feet, 1-story, no carpets, pool on almost 2 acres.
Wow. What's the price?
$639.
All right.
So let me know soon if you have someone so I can try to get you in there before we take it off and then come back.
Okay. Good. Anyone else? All right. Buyer needs?
I got buyer needs.
Tom?
I have lady looking to find a home. She needs to be closed before September 15th, under $150,000 in Taylor. If you've got anything coming, please let me know. We've looked at many and her tastes are all over the place. So anyway, yeah, just let me know what they are. I have a buyer in Burnett that seems like you may be the answer, but his budget is 250 and under, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and no HOA. So that's what I've got on the top of my head.
Okay, any other buyer needs? Yeah.
Lakefront type property or within close proximity to the lake, either Lake Austin or Lake Travis. Minimum 3.2 and up to 500,000.
Okay. Anyone else?
Oh, I forgot coming soon.
Okay.
3-bedroom, a Pflugerville under 250. It has a pool. It's halfway in ground, halfway above ground. I can give you details. It's really awesome and it's well done, but it's just
Okay.
a unique situation.
It didn't like pop out of the ground?
No.
Okay,
It's done honestly that way.
Because I've seen some fiberglass pools that have done that.
100 square foot, 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, Pflugerville, right off of Piccadilly, right by Windermere Elementary. Wood floors throughout, semi-updated kitchen, under 250.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, Tom, what do you have?
So, yesterday I was speaking with a guy, I did a registration between broker and owner. I was representing the buyer, and this guy was looking at maybe selling his land. Presented an offer to him, he's gonna consider it. After I was done, I asked him who he knew that's looking to buy or sell. Make sure you ask that question, because now he's got somebody for me. He's in Burnett, and he has a buyer need here in Georgetown. So, just always ask that question.
Could be a $900,000 listing. You never know.
Could be.
Yeah. All right. Is Jordan out there?
Yeah.
Yeah, price reduction.
I got the listing at 109 and 111 East 7th, just off the square, from 755 to 690.
Wow.
Bring me a
That's
buyer to sell.
quite a reduction.
Yes.
All right. Any other price reductions? Yeah.
My lease listing out in the villages of Berry Creek, nearly, it's under 3,000 square foot, and we dropped it to 2,000 a month yesterday. Fresh carpet, fresh paint, it looks like a model home. If you have anybody going to clean Fort Hood.
I have a question.
Awesome. Any other ones? All right. Well, with that, let's begin our interview with Alex and Jordan.
Cheers. Okay, let's do a little Q&A. Tom.
What's going on in the lending world right now other than rates are going down?
Yeah, rates are great. So the cool thing is, every time, however you feel about President Trump, every time he says, I'm going to sanction somebody, you know, stocks go down, so the mortgage-backed securities go up, so rates drop. So I'm okay with him being a little crazy right now. It makes everything, at least in our world. So anyway, hey, if you don't know me, by the way, my name is Jordan Jones. This is Alex Eiler. We're Team Eiler with Fairway Mortgage. We literally are our team. When you do a loan with one of us, you do it with both of us. I recommend you send stuff to Alex because he's a little less crazy than I am. But when you do, like I said, when you're doing it with one, you get both heads. 2 heads are better than one. We have a combined experience, and both of us do a ton of VA loans and FHA loans and all that in between. We do down payment assistance and mobile homes as well. And so if you need that, just bring it on. So anyway, we do all that kind of stuff, and also we have lots of jumbo products as well. I mean, everybody does those. Okay, not every lender does down payment assistance and whatnot, but we're happy to. So they should because you know those people are going to continue to move up, you know, and if you treat them with white gloves, you know, when you start, then I mean eventually they're going to be buying a $500,000 house and what's that? Hopefully, yeah. So anyway, we just want to we're going to try to treat people with white gloves. I'm known to go out to their house if they're
water test, septic. Well, we don't
water
do septic.
Yeah, water tests. If honestly, if they're just not computer savvy and we've got to get signatures like a whole stack of, I'll take it out of their house to get it on time. So I've done it before. I'll do it again. And I always make lunch for you guys. So I hope you appreciate it this time because I was using. I thought there was gonna be about 40 people, so I cooked a lot. Okay, there might be some left over, but the thing was, I was using Alex's crock pot, but I bought this giant. This has nothing to do with lending. I brought this giant pork butt, 2 giant pork butts, and so they cook all night in Dr. Pepper. That's literally all there is to the recipe. But I kind of, to make sure there was lots in there to cook this pork butt in, I kind of filled it to the top with his crock pot, and so unbeknownst to me, it was actually kind of bubbling over in my kitchen all night. And so it's soda mixed with like the fat and grease like from the pork. So I mean, it was everywhere, and cleaning that up was, I mean, I'm on my hands and knees scrubbing our floor with, it was nuts this morning. So.
And his wife was standing there shaking her head.
Yeah, my wife's just like,
He does that all the time. It has nothing to do with the cooking.
Do you know my wife? Wow, that's good. Yeah, so that's, but I always have a great time doing it. But that's so I guess the moral of that story is I'm not perfect. I make mistakes, but I'm going to work my hardest.
But hopefully lunch is good.
Yes, but hopefully lunch is good. So
He picked it up all off the floor. No, I'm just kidding.
So here's the thing. Rates are great, but everybody can get you great rates. Okay, we're gonna try to beat the competition. I always tell people, listen, if I can't beat the other guy, I'm gonna match it and pay for the appraisal. But we're gonna give white glove service. That's where we really excel.
Worst case scenario, we're going to drive the other person's rate down. So even if your borrower doesn't switch to us, they're going to get a better deal.
Yeah. By the way, hey, let me invite you to do that. Okay. So and this is extra work for us that isn't going to pay off right away, but it's going to pay off in good grace, goodwill from you guys. If your person's going with a builder, that cookie cutter builder who has an in-house lender that's offering $6,000 in closing costs, that hey, I can't give $6,000 in closing costs. Here's what I can do. I can pre-approve them, and I can give a little sheet that says what my rate is going to be, and I guarantee it's going to be better than the builder's lender. Now listen, you're going to take that back to the builder's lender, or to the builder, and you're going to say, listen, we want to use our lender because they're giving us this rate. They're going to say no, but they're going to give you those closing costs, and they're going to match my rate. Okay? Most of the time they're going to do that. And so what that does is for your clients, that's like, okay, this person's getting me the best deal possible, and I help to do that. And so, hey, down the road, we'll get to work together on another deal, on a resale or custom build or just whatever. I'm not worried about that, but that helps you guys, and helping y'all obviously helps us.
Y'all do refis?
We do refis.
We have them coming out of our ears right now.
I'm sure you do.
Exactly. We're getting lots of refis right now.
Yeah, everyone who closed in like November, December, January.
That's exactly
here's a good one for you. I had a gentleman call, said, I saw you guys on Google. I wanted to check in on refi rates today. And I said, okay. He said, well, I want to do 20 years. I said, okay, well, here's where we're sitting on the 20-year rates. And I said, so let me ask you this, what are you at currently? He said, I'm at 3.5. You know what, buddy? You got a good rate. You're good.
Yeah, so for a lot of those people who...
15 years, we could get an eighth lower, but that's not worth it. An eighth lower is not worth it.
But for a lot of those people who you closed over the months of like November, December, and January, rates were hovering about 5% around that time. So now I know somebody who just locked in today at like 3.75%. For a refi on their house that closed in November. So that's something that you can use to come from contribution with the people that you've worked with recently to show them, hey, we could probably help you save a little bit of money every single month.
If they closed 2018, probably from, April through November, in that time range right there, that's when rates were getting higher and higher and higher. We did one yesterday, one of the other LOs in our group. He had a VA loan that had closed that was a VA jumbo. And that guy took he didn't have the greatest credit at the time. He took 5.125 was his VA interest rate, and we refied him yesterday to 3. He still doesn't have the greatest credit in the world, but it's actually a little bit better than it was then.
Yeah.
So, a year later, we actually had to lock it for 60 days out to get past. There's a certain time frame you have to wait before you can do an IRRRL is just a VA refinance.
Yeah.
That's kind of streamlined. But if we locked it out 60 days, it would get us past that date, and then we can close. And so he's going from 5.125 to 3.875.
It's a big savings.
And not even a year later. It's we're having to wait to get to. There's a 221 day or something like that time frame that we have to wait. But yeah, he's a point, 1.5% or 1.25% on his rate.
Yeah, and conventional, it just has to be 6 payments
So we get people ask us that all the time. And a lot of times what it is they want to purchase before they sell, but then they know they're going to have this chunk that they're going to be able to put down. So
Yeah.
they, in their mind, they want to purchase and then come back after they sell their house and do a refinance. Now, something cool that we do a lot of, just so that you're aware of this for your borrowers, is called a recast.
Yeah.
Recast just means that we can set it up multiple ways. You know, sometimes we don't wind up being the servicer of their loan. We can ensure that we keep it until after the recast date. And then they can buy, you know, on maybe 5% down,
Mhm.
have mortgage insurance and all that stuff, sell their house, come back, put that large. And there's a limit on it. They have to put at least a principal reduction of, every servicer's different. Usually it's about $10,000. If they'll do a principal reduction of $10,000 or more, most people who are doing that scenario, they're putting a lot more than that down.
Yeah.
They can come in, make a one-time principal reduction payment once they sell their house. We recast it, and all recast means is that we refigure their payment based on the new numbers, remove the mortgage insurance because now they're over 20% down, blah, blah, blah.
And you can
But
do that
get the effect
at least
of
one
a
time.
refinance without having to pay the closing costs of a
Mhm.
refinance.
Ah.
There's usually $150 to $250 charge for a recast, but that's all they pay, and they don't have to go through the process of a refinance.
Yeah.
It seems like we're losing people. You guys are really hungry. So, I'm sorry. We talk fast. We talk a lot. So, tell you what we'll do. If you have any questions, we're going to stick around. Alex was going to tell you a really good story, but it looks like you guys are really hungry. So, we're going to let you away with that, okay? But we're going to stick around. So, if you got questions,
Maybe next time.
ask them. Food's out there in the crock.